Doom, doom,
Hey,
doom, doom,
break it down.
doom, 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 doom.
Today's I read it on Reddit is written by a kid, and it has so much cursing in it that if I read it slowly, it's because I'm omitting the curse words.
Okay.
So it's called I Quit. I always get bad grades, and my parents always think that I'm acting when I'm actually so surprised I got a bad grade. Everything that I do today doesn't matter, and it gets thrown away in the trash of what I did last week or something I just want to quit.
Okay.
I'm so tired of studying for hours until 12 to 1 a.m., and all I get is a bad grade in 3 classes.
This cap.
That is horse manure. I try so hard, and all it gets me is getting screamed at by my parents. I try so hard, I don't get anything good for it. F my life, F my luck, F this school, F my parents' logic, F my school's logic, F this slow laptop from 2008. F this ish.
Why you say that like that?
I don't know. And I omitted other curse words. I wanted to talk about this because one, I'm a teacher, and I wanted to find out. I read it on like giving up on your dreams, but when I saw this one, I was like, "Nah, we rolling with this one,
Say
dog."
F my slow ass laptop from 2008. I'm not gonna hang out with a little bro, man.
Mind you, this was written this year. Okay.
Oh, man.
So I want to kind of break it down a little bit, though, because we are in a whole pandemic, whether you are following or abiding by that or not, whether your state is doing certain things or not. And I feel like people forget that kids are at the brunt of this, right? Like, they don't really want to stay home all the time and not have social interaction. They don't really want to just have a list of assignments and complete it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a checklist of assignments.
Word.
And so you have to really balance how you are responding to your kid. Now, good grades are something that I expect in this household and what I expect of Tamara.
Absolutely.
However, you have to know your kid. I would have students in my classroom and they would get a C, and I would praise that C. And another kid would be like, "But Miss Scott, you expected me to get an A." And I would say, "But I know that's what you're capable of," right? Like, I know that that's where you're at. If this person was at an F and I'm trying to get them to a C, like, that's a huge accomplishment for them. Yeah. And so the bottom line is you got to meet people where they are, even kids. You got to meet them where they are. And I feel like this kid was feeling as though everything they did, like, just wasn't getting recognized. Well,
he's clearly an entertainer. Clearly. If I would pay to hear that brother say that live. He had a comedic tone and didn't even know it.
So what would you suggest to the child of, like, how to handle the situation?
I would tell him that this is just a bump in your road. Your path is much bigger than this moment. You just have to kind of ride the wave, bro, and just get through it. If a D is going to get you a passing grade, do all you can to get that D and then get out of the classroom. Trust me, I know. I had math classes in high school that I almost flunked, and I passed geometry with a D. So sorry. Yeah. Everything else, though, magnifique. Even writing classes. But some things you just aren't your thing, but it's a requirement to get to the next level, and you have to do what you have to do.
And I know this is from the perspective of the child, but based on how they're feeling of what their parents' logic is what they're saying of how they should be performing and what they should be doing. How do you think, as a parent yourself, like, how are you supposed to deal with that?
You know your kid. Man. You truly do know, like you said, what you're capable of. Even as a teacher, you know what your kids are capable of, and they're just your students. So, I mean, as a parent, I think you should know. I think you have a good gauge of where your kid is and where they should be. And if they're struggling, then give them support. So it sounds like this young brother doesn't have any support at home. he's not being sent to those, I can't remember, those learning centers and stuff where they do tutoring and things like that. Like there's
But
some
think
sort of
about
support.
this from a virtual standpoint, because this kid is doing virtual learning.
Yeah.
From a virtual standpoint, this is how they're feeling. And can you really honestly say, babe, if I was not an educator and I wasn't kind of giving you tidbits on how things are done or, what we can expect, do you think that you would believe what Tamara's saying? Like the other day or the other week you called me and you were like, she's been out of some of her classes early and I think she's just been watching TV. And I'm like, okay, babe. So then I explained to you, like, okay, in a class, you have about 20 kids online.
Word.
Once you give an assignment, you may put everybody in a breakout room, and then you're just popping into those breakout rooms, assisting them and catching them up on something. And a lot of kids aren't keeping up with their work.
Yeah.
So if our kid is doing her work, but then some of her classmates are not, then her teacher may either tell her just to review her work one last time and then sit on the call until she's done, or she may tell her that she can log off once her assignment is submitted.
Word.
So if you're and it's also the end of the quarter, so people are trying to wrap up their grades because they're due soon. So that is going to happen more frequently the last week and a half of a quarter.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
true.
saying?
That's true.
So if you didn't know that and I didn't explain that, you might have just thought she was, BSing.
Yeah, but I mean, there would have been a moment to address it. I think we would have had that conversation eventually, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. Especially, you don't have an educator in the house, you don't know what's going on. Definitely.
Sometimes, yeah. Unless you really are, unless you just really are abreast of everything and you're keeping in touch with teachers and doing all of that.
PTA mom?
And I'm not that parent. I'm not that parent. I don't think I've emailed any of her teachers because I first want to hear from her. I also check her grade. Like if she has a grade, I don't run to the teacher and be like, why does she have this grade? I look at her assignments in the grade book online and I say, but see, this is me being an educator.
Yeah,
You got a lower test grade right here, and that, impacted this. Or this grade impacted that. Even if you turned in all the assignments, your average would be this. And so it's not going to go up. Because one day she was frustrated. She said, I did an extra credit assignment or I redid an assignment and I got a B on it. But my grade went up, a half a percentage point. And I'm like, because that's typically your average grade. So that's not going to take you over the edge. You'd have to literally get like 100 and 95 to adjust that.
I remember school being hard. So, I mean, I think it's much easier to, like, be an adult and work a job. Like, that's just my personal... Yeah.
School wasn't hard to me. School's not hard to her either, but school also to me is a game. It's not... It is kind of real life because jobs expect you to do that. Just check off these boxes and play this game and get your little paycheck.
I was a little too opinionated in my youth, so... Oh, dang it, I said youth.
Yeah, you did. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to talk about that. I also would... My suggestion for the child, though, and I actually had an experience with this last week. My suggestion is to email your teachers or conference with your teachers personally and take initiative for yourself.
Yeah, if you make that effort, they'll be there.
I see a kid take initiative, I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna help. I'm already open to everyone, but when I get that personal message or you advocating for yourself, then it hits different.
Yeah.
So last week I was on a Zoom call and I was teaching. It was 8:30 in the morning. And I had this one girl that was struggling to log in the morning. And, she would be honest with me. She's like, I'm tired. I'm just waking up. I'm trying to get myself together. So I'm sorry that I, logged in late. Because I wouldn't let it go. After it happening so many times, I'm like, hey, keep it funky with me. That's my favorite term. I'm like, keep it funky with me.
Yeah.
What's the issue? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And so she was able to tell me. So anyway, fast forward to last week, I hear someone yell, "You effing B," right?
Ooh.
But I thought it was like her mom or her parent. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a parent in the background. So she was unmuted, and I heard her say, I think she was playing it off now in retrospect. She was like, Mom, I'm unmuted or something she said. So then, I said, don't worry about it. I hit the mute button, and I kept teaching the lesson. I wasn't worried about it at all, right?
Yeah.
Class ended, and I kept thinking, I emailed home the day before. Was she talking to me? Was her mom talking to me? Like, what? I don't know what happened. But once again, I didn't think twice. I thought those thoughts, but I left it alone. I went to go check my email. This child had wrote me an email. She said, oh my God, Miss Scott, I'm so sorry that you heard that. My cat scratched me, and I yelled. I cursed at the cat. And she said, I was not directing it to you, and I just felt you needed to know that.
Ooh.
That wasn't me calling home and being like, your child said this. That wasn't.
How mature?
Oh my God. My response to that child was, I said, thank you for taking the time out to explain what happened. I said, that makes me feel so much better, and I love that you took responsibility for your actions.
Oh, the level of maturity is immaculate.
I will see you in class tomorrow.
Top flight.
Everything has to go through a parent. Not everything has to go, especially when you're teaching like middle and high school. Like, some things can really be resolved between you and the child. Some things they just don't need a grand response either. Now, imagine if I'm on the call in front of peers and I'm like, what'd you just say? Where's your parent? Who said that? Like, that's a distraction.
Well, also too, shout out to Miss Noggle, my 10th grade geometry teacher. She ain't like me because she thought I was always trying to crack jokes, and I was. But I made it. I'm good.
Whatever.
I made it out. We made it out, B. We made it out. You know what I mean? So Miss Noggle, I don't know where you at.
Oh my God.
What are you doing?
All right,
You
Trav.
at?